Okay, so with this week's video, I'm not going to go into much depth with it. You can zoom into class, watch the Zoom recordings as well if you have more questions. So for Monday and Tuesday, we're going to work on IXL section LL1. It's just a capitalization review. A lot of you are not capitalizing things in your writing, especially the beginning of a sentence or names, including your own. Come on. So we're doing this IXL section. Hopefully it's really quick. You need to get it to 80%. If you have more questions, I included a link for a video that you can watch to review. And there will be a little more in the Zoom videos as we go forward. So the biggest thing that we are doing this week is writing an introduction paragraph for our argument. When you're writing an argument, there's a few things that you need to consider. You need to consider who your audience is. So number one, if you're writing about whether or not Madec should be convicted of a crime, your audience is not the people who believe you. It's the people who do not believe you. So you have to keep in mind as we're writing, you're trying to convince the opposite side. You're not just um, wasting your breath talking to the people who already agree with you. So, what do your audience members know, and what biases do they have, or biases that they are bringing that you need to convince them otherwise? So, in your thesis statement for your argumentative introduction paragraph, I'm going to pull this up. You'll notice, oh, okay, so here's the actual assignment, your introduction paragraph with your topics. We've gone over them before. I went through and I changed up the rubric assignment. I did this hoping that it would be easier for those of you who are at home or just clear in general as far as what I am expecting. So obviously in an introduction we should know by now that you need a hook, background information, and your thesis statement. So I am looking for those three things, and if you meet uh, these expectations in the rubric, you'll get full points. So for example, in introduction, overall, I'm looking that you present the problem or the argument with a precise thesis statement. And we're going to go over that thesis statement in a minute. That you establish the background, so why are we talking about this information, and declare where your argument is going. Okay, that's very important. You cannot assume your reader knows what you're talking about. So if you do all of those things, you get full points for that section of the rubric. The second one is your thesis. Do you develop your thesis, not Reese's peanut butter, thesis and support it with reasons while anticipating the audience's concerns or background knowledge? So in your thesis statement, it's a little different from your informative essay. In your argumentative writing, you need to attack it. So for example, Madec should be convicted or should not be convicted because he was new to the area. He comes from a bigger city, and while Ben did warn him, there was no way to predict that the old man was there. So you'll notice I had my supporting reasons, but I also acknowledge that the other side might argue that, hey, Ben let Madec know that he didn't see any horns, and Madec should have realized that he could possibly shoot someone or something else. So you always acknowledge the opposing side, and I'll go into more detail with this with the Zoom meeting if you're still confused. And then the last one, do you write using cohesive sentences? That means, do your sentences blend well? Do you transition from one thing, your hook, to your background, to your thesis clearly? Do you use complete sentences, spell things correctly, and use correct grammar? If you have more questions on this assignment, please reach out to me. So when you have completed that assignment, I want you to submit it. And then you're going to look at this rubric. So if you look, the question, I know it's a little weird, but it goes through each of the different sections of the rubric that tells you if you're at a proficient level, an intermediate, or a beginner. I want you to write what you would give yourself and why. Explain it. This is where you get to tell me what grade I should give you, and if you justify it, I will give you that grade. And then later on, you should be able to compare the rubric score I give you and the grade you gave yourself, and see where you're at. What's confusing? If there's something, maybe you're not getting background information, or maybe it's your thesis. That's when we look at it and you tell me, okay, I'm struggling with this. What am I doing wrong? And we can go from there. So this week, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to modules. So this week, after we go through and do that on Monday and Tuesday with that introduction paragraph assignment and the quiz, I'm going to have some time to grade it, and either well, actually it will be Thursday and Friday. We're going to go through it and revise it and go over what you thought of it and what I thought, and you'll be able to get a higher score. On Wednesday and a little bit on Thursday, we'll have possibly some time, if we don't have enough time Monday and Tuesday, to work on finishing up the introduction paragraph, just depending on what pops up. But the biggest thing on Wednesday and Thursday is that we are going to finish up chapter 3 and turn in the study guide. Your study guide with your vocabulary, we're going to review it, and I want you to keep reviewing it because some of your vocabulary terms will be on your novel test. So keep reviewing those terms, and then you'll turn in your first study guide. It's chapters 1 through 3, and then we're moving on to the second one, which is 4 through 7. Okay, so we're moving along in the novel now. We're hopefully, if time pending, seeing what the situation will be almost a third of the way through the book by the end of this week. So that's the big focus for Wednesday and a little bit of Thursday. The other thing is we'll have some time to finish up the IXL sections, because IXL sections H, H3 and 4, and LL1 will be due this Friday. And on Friday, and this will be a little bit Thursday for B-Day, we're going to start looking at the rubric, and I'm going to give you some time to go through your essay and fix things up for more points. Next week, we're going to start looking at our counterclaim paragraph for our essay. And then we are going to keep reading so we stay caught up on the novel with everything going on. I'm hoping that we can get to at least chapter 5, probably chapter 6. End of chapter 5, around chapter 6 by Friday. If we are going at a slower pace, you can go ahead if you would like to do so at home. If you have other questions, please let me know, or stay up to date on the Zoom meetings. Thanks, guys.